the things that has kind of become a catchphrase for me in the comments is that gaming is a tapestry. We all like different things, and any tapestry that is going to use the exact same colors for the exact same person is going to be a boring goddamn tapestry. Variety is excellent. What's going on, everybody? I'm Jay. Welcome to Square Pegs, and that variety means everybody's collection is different. Everybody's games that they feel are necessary are different. Today we're talking about the NES. The NES is where I cut my teeth as a gamer. Yes, I started on the ColecoVision, I started on the Atari 2600, but the NES is where I became a gamer. Today I want to give you my 10 necessary NES games. 10 games that to me are the epitome of the console. Games to me that everyone should own, everyone should play, everyone should love. And I want to hear from you. Let me know what your 10 NES games are down in the comments because they're going to be different from mine. And I think that is amazing. We're going to kick things off right now with one that I think is going to be on everyone's list. It's one that I think is kind of ubiquitous with what makes the NES great, what makes the NES memorable, what makes it wonderful. And that is, of course, Super Mario Bros. 3. What can be said about Super Mario Bros. 3 that has been said already, that hasn't been said already? That's what I meant to say. Not much. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a perfect game. It is one of the greatest video games ever made. It is probably the best NES game ever made. Certainly the most popular, and one that to me is just a perfect example of Mario and Miyamoto and Nintendo at their absolute best. It's a fun game. It's challenging. It added things to the franchise that we are still seeing today. The world map, multiple power-ups, different lands that actually had variety and personality. We still see those in today's games. Those are the signature of what we see in things like Super Mario Odyssey. That all started with Mario 3. You can make an argument that that started with Mario 2, but as much as I am a Mario 2 purist and I love the game, that wasn't originally a Mario game, so I can't give that one the credit there. But Mario 3, that's where it really kicked off, and that's where I think a lot of us really fell in love with the franchise. Additionally as well, not going to be on this list, I should say this right now, neither Zelda game. I don't think either one of those are necessary for an NES collection, because I think where Zelda really started and where Zelda really made its mark was on the Super Nintendo. If I was doing this for the SNES, which will probably be next month, if I'm being honest with you, that will be on the list. Link to the Past will definitely be there. But if we're talking just NES, I think you're safe to pass up on the Zelda games. One game you're not safe to pass up on, though, is a licensed title from Capcom, and that would be DuckTales. I love DuckTales. I don't think you can go wrong with really any of the NES Capcom Disney games. I think they're all fantastic in their own way, with the grand exception of TaleSpin. But DuckTales, to me, is nearly perfect. It's almost as perfect as Mario is, or as Mario 3 is. You have a memorable character in Scrooge McDuck, a memorable gameplay mechanic with the different abilities he has with his cane. The levels are fun. I think the only thing that really draws DuckTales back is the fact that it's not terribly long. It's a pretty quick game to get through. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because sometimes you just want to rip through a game real fast, and DuckTales will do that for you. But it is wonderful, and you can really see kind of those signature design elements that were present in other Capcom games like Mega Man that really kind of made their presence felt in DuckTales. There's even some borrowed assets, which I think is pretty cool. But to me, absolutely necessary game, one of the single greatest of all time, and possibly the greatest licensed game ever made. The jury is definitely out on that, but I think it's up there. It's definitely one of the top. Okay, Konami now. And I also want to point out something here. I'm not going to have any of the Mega Man games on here. I don't know why. I didn't grab any of them. They probably should be on this list, but in prep for this video, I just forgot to grab them off of my shelves. Whatever one you want to put on here, we'll say there's 11. Mega Man 2, Mega Man 3, Mega Man 4, whatever you feel like. It should be on this list too. But next up from Konami, we're going to go with Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse. Now, I don't think you can go wrong with any of the NES Castlevania games. They're all great in their own different ways. They're all a different experience. Like Castlevania 1 is kind of the prototype and kind of the tech demo of what Castlevania could be. Castlevania 2 took some chances and tried some different things that weren't really for everybody. It's my personal favorite, but I think Dracula's Curse is probably the best Castlevania game on an 8-bit console. The branching paths, the different characters, the abilities, the level designs, the graphics and the music, it really is the total package. And it's such a complete title that I can't really look past it when suggesting games for the NES as necessary to have in anyone's collection. I think even over 1 and 2, you can jump to 3 and be completely satisfied. If you've never played 1 and 2, you can play 3 and be ecstatic that this was your introduction to the Castlevania universe. Personally, I started with 1 and I don't have any regrets on that. But if I had started with 3, it would have been fine because the game is absolutely brilliant. I think it's probably the peak of what Konami did on the NES. There are tons of great games from Konami on the NES, but I think Dracula's Curse is probably the best. It would not be a video for me on the NES if I didn't mention a fantastic RPG. And I was kind of torn between talking about Ultima Quest of the Avatar, but I think really at the end of the day, the one that is necessary for anyone that is an RPG fan on the NES is the original Final Fantasy. It has not shown its age very well. It has not aged terribly gracefully. There are parts of it that I look at and I go, man, I wish they'd turned left when they turned right. I wish they would have done something a little bit different there. But it is still such a core example of what I think a great video game is, and something that to me is nearly perfect, despite the fact that there are some parts of it that I just look at and I go, God, I don't want to grind through that level again. It's still, to me, the one that is the benchmark for what a great RPG is. It's stuff like Dragon Quest or Dragon Warrior here in the States, those are still great as well, but those, to me, feel a little bit more archaic when compared to Final Fantasy. I think Final Fantasy really took some chances to kind of try to drive the genre forward a little bit, and I think it succeeded. Was it perfect in every single way? No, certainly not. Like I said, there's definitely some aspects of it where I'm just like, oh my God, stop. But overall, the game is amazing. All right, we are going to look now at a kind of run and gun shooter. It's a top-down shmup. It's a different kind of shmup, though, because it's not like Gradius or Xevious or anything like that. It's one where you are controlling a vehicle, but it's Jackal. It's a little bit different, another Konami game here. And this one, to me, is signature because it's such a great multiplayer game or single-player game. They're both fantastic ways to play it. But to me, the best part about the game is just the fact that it's fun. Like, at the end of the day, Konami went for broke on fun, and they nailed it with Jackal. It's an absolutely wonderful title. The look of the game is still solid to this day. It still holds up, and I think that's kind of remarkable. And while there are aspects of the game that some more modern gamers might look at and say, no, that isn't really for me, and I can completely respect that and understand it, I think there's enough there that folks that are newer gamers that maybe didn't start gaming until the N64 or even the PlayStation 2 would still have fun with it, because I think there's kind of just that obvious understanding of what people need to do and what people would want to do, and that's drive around in your Jeep and blow shit up, right? Like, that's the best part about it. It's great. It's a wonderful game, though. Absolutely top 10 for me, and something that I didn't buy for a long time, but I'm so happy I finally picked up because it's absolutely amazing. All right, moving on now. This is a racing game. This one's published by Nintendo, developed by Rare, and you already know what it is by saying those 3 descriptors right there. It's RC Pro-Am. RC Pro-Am is excellent. It's a lot of fun. It is a physics mess. It's nothing like driving an actual RC car, but I don't think that matters because it's just a blast. It's such a simple to understand game. You are driving around a course. You have the ability to see the course on the screen. You know what's coming up. After you've done a lap, you understand what obstacles are in your way, and it's you against the rest of the field. You collect power-ups. You collect the letters to spell out Nintendo. It's just awesome. It's a great game. I absolutely love it. And there's nothing about the game that I dislike. Like, I have really enjoyed every single aspect of RC Pro-Am that I've ever played, whether it's the first or the second, whether it's Championship Pro-Am. Even fun to play on Rare Replay, like going back and kind of seeing it on a modern console, it's still great. Absolutely lovely title, absolutely fantastic game, and one of the best NES experiences top to bottom. It would not be a list from Jay if I didn't include a sports game, and the one I want to talk about is Super Dodgeball. I love the Kunio-kun games. You could have put River City Ransom on here as well. I can't say that one's necessary because I don't actually own it. So that's my secret shame there, is I don't actually own River City Ransom. I have plenty of digital copies, but yeah, not a physical. I need to rectify that. But Super Dodgeball, absolutely money game. This is much like River City Ransom, much like Nintendo World Cup, much like Crash and the Boys Street Challenge, like Ike Ike no Beketsu. It's a Kunio-kun game that stars the characters that you are familiar with the appearance of, and it's dodgeball. It's a ridiculous concept. It is goofily executed, and it's still an absolute blast to this day. It is one of those signature memories for me when I was growing up of playing sports games on the NES and thinking, it's not going to get better than this. And you know what? It really hasn't. It's still a fun game. While some of the game is a mess and some of it does not hold up terribly well, I still think it's a brilliant title, and I still think it's a lot of fun. And I think that's kind of the case with a lot of NES games, is that a lot of them maybe don't necessarily hold up perfectly well compared to how we remember them. Like, it kind of like the original Ninja Turtles cartoon, right? Like, we all have that fond memory of it, but when you go back and watch it today, you kind of go, oh, that's really shitty. And there's certainly some aspects to that in most NES games, but for me, Super Dodgeball kind of trumps that. While there's some rough parts to it, the gameplay itself is still really fun. Like, I think the biggest issue for me is kind of the flicker. Like, that kind of gets on my nerves, but it's still fun. It's still excellent. All right, next up, a game that is a little bit inspired by Mega Man, a little bit inspired by Running Man, a little bit inspired by Crocodile Dundee, I think, and that is Power Blade. None of those things I said are accurate except probably the Mega Man one. I love Power Blade. I love Power Blade. I love Shatterhand. I love all those kind of weird Kickmaster, Kabuki Quantum Fighter, all those kind of weird, like second run, third run NES platformers that took a chance by what the formula was and made something really cool. Power Blade is amazing. It is such a ridiculous concept. You are playing as a guy, your weapon is a boomerang, and you collect power-ups to make your boomerang go farther, hit harder, and fly faster. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's dumb in concept. Like, no lie. It's absolutely idiotic in concept. But in execution, Taito absolutely crushed it. It is such a brilliant game. I can't think of anything about it that I dislike, honestly. Like, the challenge is there, the gameplay is there, the music is good, the look of the game is good, the level design is great. It does borrow heavily from kind of classic platformers like Mega Man, like Ninja Gaiden, which easily could have been on this list, by the way. But I think Power Blade is just one of those games that is a near perfect example of what the NES is capable of, and just really showed when developers were starting to take chances and try new things, what really made that console great was stuff like Power Blade. All right, and now this one you can go with either version. It doesn't matter if it's Mike Tyson's Punch-Out or Punch-Out with Mr. Dream. They're both excellent. It's probably outside of maybe ice hockey, and I was considering putting ice hockey on this list, but I think of all of the NES sports games, Punch-Out is the one that everyone should own as far as a sports title goes. It's a brilliant game. It is super fun. It has a great difficulty curve that really kind of eases you into the game ramping up and becoming more and more difficult as you play. The gimmick of the gameplay is wonderful. Like, running into different boxers that have different abilities and different weaknesses, I thought was incredibly clever and just a wonderful design element. And it's something that is still memorable to this day. Like, I remember, like, everyone remembers the fight music. Like, dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, everyone remembers it. And I can't believe I just did all that. But it's one of those things where it's such a memorable experience with, like, just these larger than life, like absolutely massive larger than life characters against your tiny little sprite. And I just thought it was brilliant. It was such a perfect execution of what a game should be, and just a memorable game from top to bottom. I absolutely love Punch-Out, and I think it is probably the single greatest sports game achievement for Nintendo. And I know that says a lot because there's a lot of really great Nintendo sports games. I don't think anything tops Punch-Out. Last game on my list, and I know this one is going to get some questions. I know a lot of people don't care for it, but for me, I think it's absolutely brilliant, and that is Star Tropics. I love that game. I loved it when it first released. I loved it when I first started seeing stuff about it in Nintendo Power. I thought just the concept of it was beautiful. I loved the overworld and kind of those RPG core elements that were there, but the gameplay itself was all action platforming, and I thought that was amazing. And it was isometric, top-down action platforming, which was bizarre to me, but worked incredibly well. And it's a game that, in my eyes, is a perfect experience and a perfect NES title, because not only does the game look good and sound amazing, it has one of the greatest soundtracks on the NES and some of the best gameplay on the NES, it cared enough to give you a gimmick that was memorable with the letter that you had to dip in water to get the secret code. The game didn't stick to just one concept. It kind of went and branched out from just being kind of a romp through the Caribbean to being something where you actually kind of went interstellar and into outer space, and I thought that was really clever. The sequel is also great. I just think the first one is kind of a perfect experience and a nearly perfect NES game as far as I'm concerned. But that's my list. Those are my 10 necessary, 11 if you count any of the Mega Man games, necessary NES games. And I would love to hear from you. What are your necessary NES games? Which ones would make your list that you feel everyone should own and everyone should play? I'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you're new here, and consider sticking around. I'd love to have you be here. Until next time, remember to play more games, stay square, and take care. I'll talk to you soon.